There can be no doubt that Islam is a great faith. With 1.7 billion followers, it is second only to Christianity in the number of believers. This includes millions of Americans who call themselves Muslims or followers of Islam. Some famous Americans call themselves Muslims. I am the greatest! Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Muhammad Ali is a famous, outspoken former American boxer, and he is a follower of Islam. So is Shaquille O'Neal, or Shaq Fu, or whatever he tends to call himself these days. However, when many think of Islam, these names do not come to mind. Tragically, the events of September 11, 2001, and the continued horrible acts of terror by supposed followers of the Prophet Muhammad have given many a tainted view of this great faith. Many stereotype Muslims and Islam as the faith of terrorists and of mass murderers. However, this is not Islam. True Islam is peace. Like all faiths, though, Islam can be corrupted and twisted to serve the purpose of men and not the will of God, or, in this case, the will of Allah. The question this brief video attempts to explain is how terrorists, such as the departed Osama bin Laden, use Islam to justify their horrific acts of terror. Along with the 5 pillars of faith, one important aspect of Islam is the call to Jihad. Pictured here is the Arabic word for jihad. Technically, the word means striving or struggling for the sake of Allah. It is usually associated with fighting in defense of Islam, although for some it can mean striving to improve oneself. Jihad was preached by the Prophet Muhammad in his years of warfare against Mecca. Muhammad had insisted in the 600s that the false idols within the Kaaba must be removed, as the only God was God, or Allah. After a decade of struggle, Muhammad and his followers won the war and the argument, and the idols were removed, but the Kaaba remained the focal point of Islam, and as it was built by Abraham and Ishmael. But back to the concept of jihad. Jihad won Arabia for Muhammad, but he tried to be clear about when jihad could and could not be used. Muhammad said that a jihad must be in self-defense. He also said that jihad cannot harm innocent people, women, children, the elderly. And finally, jihad must not include suicide, as Islam, like all faiths, forbids this practice. Now, let's fast forward to September 11, 2001, when this man, Osama bin Laden, masterminded horrific attacks on American soil. Among the places attacked was the World Trade Center in New York City, the Pentagon building near Washington, D.C., and another plane was hijacked and was crashed outside of Shanksville, Pennsylvania. In total, these attacks killed over 3,000 American citizens. The death toll included innocents, women, children, the elderly. The hijackers who flew these planes committed suicide, flying these airliners full of jet fuel into these buildings. Osama claimed that these attacks were jihad. But wait, how does this make any sense? Again, jihad must be in self-defense, cannot harm innocent people, and jihad forbids suicide. How could these attacks be jihad? Would the Prophet Muhammad say they are jihad? Well, most Muslim scholars and holy men say no, that these attacks cannot be considered jihad. But Osama bin Laden and his fellow terrorists have a different interpretation of the Quran, and they say that, yes, this most certainly was jihad. Say what? Wah, 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 wah. Okay, here's their thought process. Terrorists claim that these attacks were in self-defense because the United States of America and the West is in the middle of a deliberate campaign to conquer the world. We're doing it through our media, our products, our goods, and our culture. Around the world, people watch American movies, enjoy American TV, shop in American stores, and dress like Americans. Our Walmarts, our Terminators, our Lady Gagas, our McDonald's, and above all, our Justin Biebers are part of our master plan to dominate the earth. Not only is this our plan, But much of our culture is corrupt and sickening, glorifying sex, violence, drugs, and ourselves. Ours is a culture that is all about self-promotion, they say, about glorifying us, and nothing about God or about Allah. Now, terrorists are correct about one thing. Some of our culture is pretty disgusting. But here's a suggestion. Turn off the TV. Get a stronger internet filter. And leave the rest of us alone. Much of our culture is amazing. But just as people are a mix of good and bad, so our culture is a mix, because we live in a free society. We certainly do not have a plan to conquer the earth with the television show Friends. So, terrorists are not fighting in self-defense, so they are not fighting in jihad. Now, what about the killing of innocents, which jihad forbids? Terrorists kill innocent men, women, and children all the time. Terrorists are not even sorry about it. They make no apologies, because they insist that there are no innocents in this war, in this jihad. None of us are innocent, as we pay taxes and support our government's plans for world domination. Our tax money is used to fund our military, our weapons, and, again, our cultural domination of the earth. Therefore, this makes it so none of us are innocent. Apparently not even these children. Most Muslim scholars disagree with. So terrorists also break the second rule of jihad. Now, finally, Islam forbids taking one's own life. Islam forbids suicide. But it is an honor to die for your faith. It is an honor to be a martyr and die for what you believe. Terrorists claim that blowing yourself up, killing innocent people, is not in fact suicide, but because it's done in the name of jihad, it is instead martyrdom. Okay, if you believe that, then I have a bridge to sell you. So, there you have it. Terrorists break all the rules of jihad, perverting what is a great faith, perverting Islam for their own purposes, and certainly not for their own for God's purpose. Islam is a faith that truly should be about peace, and not what is currently being done with it by terrorists around the world. Hey, thank you for watching.